So, this week we are going to talk about marketing efficiency, which I think is a big, hotspot term that's been coming up a bit, or that I've seen coming up a bit. And so I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about some of the basics behind what marketing efficiency is and how we kind of implement it here at Impactable. So, just to start, can you give me some background on what marketing efficiency is for you and why it's so crucial for businesses?
Yeah, I guess the simplest terms would be you hear a lot of people saying, let's do more with less, which I think is kind of maybe an annoying term because it really kind of makes it sound like just give me more, give me more, but I want to give you less. I want more results for less money, which sure, that's what everyone wants. But when I think of it in terms of marketing efficiency, it has the same idea, except it's kind of a little more okay, there's ways to achieve that. There's efficiencies or more efficient ways to either use individual channels, or my favorite, the idea of the marketing ecosystem. There's ways to use channels together in order to improve the efficiency. So you're not just thinking of different channels in a silo, but this channel paired with this channel, it's kind of a 1+1 = 3 equation, where by adding the right channels and the right mix of channels, you can get more out of it for less money. But it's not just give me, do more with less. I'm going to cut your budget 20%, but I want more leads. It's strategically pairing things together that kind of give us marketing efficiency. And it seems like, especially with, I don't know, the way the business and economy, the tech layoffs have been, that it seems to be kind of a rallying call for a lot of B2B businesses. They want the time for just raising funds and throwing an ungodly amount of money at your paid channels until you get the user acquisition that you want. Seems to be going away. And more, I think that's why the whole attribution kind of wars is also heating up, because people want to know, what is working, what's not working. And I think it's around the same idea, because they want to be able to spend their money more efficiently. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. And it's more of, get more, do more with less, but there's actual reasons and flows and strategies and combinations I think that can realistically get us there a lot sooner.
Yeah, definitely. I think hearing that type of phrase, like do more with less, is a little scary for a lot of marketers because, I already see a lot of conversation from people being like, a lot of times marketers are expected to be generalists and expected to be a copywriter and a strategist and a designer and an ad, expert and all of that. And so doing more with less is kind of a scary thing to think about or thing to bring up. But honestly, it is about, finding those efficient ways to use what you already have, I think, too. And so when it comes to like doing more with less or trying to implement a more efficient marketing strategy, what kind of strategies or tactics have you seen be really successful in that kind of pursuit of efficiency?
One of the best examples or simplest examples that I can think of marketing efficiency is Google search, so paid search plus LinkedIn retargeting. And so most people, when they think of those two, are not a combination play. They think, okay, paid search, SEO, these are foundational kind of channels that I want to tap into. And then LinkedIn ads. This is a whole new channel. I understand that it's, something I should get into. And I heard it's really expensive. So they're not thinking of they're thinking of LinkedIn ads in terms of a net new channel that's going to take a long time to get ROI, and that it's this big isolated unknown funnel that they need to build from scratch. But in my mind, if you think about how to add in LinkedIn ads into most marketing ecosystems in a way that actually starts off improving the efficiency of everything versus it being an isolated channel, I think that would prove the point. So you have paid search, Google search, you're bidding for high intent search terms. So for us, it might be people actually searching for LinkedIn ads agencies, B2B LinkedIn ads management service, US LinkedIn ads advertising experts. So you have people actually searching for what you do. And then you have LinkedIn, which its insights tag can pick up on all your website traffic, including those Google search traffic. It can qualify that traffic and it can say, okay, these are the people that are from industries that you actually serve, from geographies that you work with, decision makers within those companies that are of the size that actually have budgets to end the same issues that you solve and can work with. These are the people that we want to stay in front of, use our marketing dollars to convert And what actually happens if you just do Google paid search and LinkedIn retargeting, you can actually get more conversions out of your paid search by using LinkedIn targeting. And it's the same for SEO. You have all of this traffic. SEO is an amazing foundational channel or tactic, I guess, to get organic traffic to your website. The main issue, though, is it's very unfocused traffic. You're not qualifying it beforehand. And so it can make retargeting very inefficient. But I guess LinkedIn retargeting is a great example of a marketing efficiency play because once again, it can qualify all of that traffic and just retarget the good fit prospects and enhance that efficiency. I guess the second option that's non-LinkedIn related, because we got to be fair, I can't just be a LinkedIn ads agency owner and just give you examples of how LinkedIn ads can improve efficiency. The other big play would be I'm a big fan of multi-channel retargeting. So I run paid search, I run SEO, I have paid listing sites. I'm qualifying and retargeting with LinkedIn ads. I have cold LinkedIn, but I know that all of my best prospects aren't necessarily only active on LinkedIn. So just using LinkedIn for retargeting does have its limitations. So I would recommend that you could actually spread the retargeting across channels. So programmatic, Meta, maybe even, Google Display. And the idea is that you don't necessarily have to spend more. So if I had a, 30,000 all-in budget and I'm spending, maybe half of that on LinkedIn, 15,000 on LinkedIn, I'm not necessarily saying you need to carve out another 5,000 and go to Meta and programmatic for a multi-touch. Honestly, what you might want to do is take some of that money from your LinkedIn ad budget or from your paid and kind of spread it across more channels. Because what I found is if you take the exact same budget, but spread it across more channels, it'll almost always, if done right, improve the marketing efficiency. So again, I want more and more organizations to think of it in terms of going multi-channel doesn't always have to be isolated funnels with its own budget and always means more budget. If I had $30,000 that you're spending on two platforms, Google and LinkedIn, I can almost guarantee that 95% of the time, if I take that exact same budget and I spread it across Google, LinkedIn, programmatic, and Meta, that would improve the marketing efficiency greatly. And you could get more conversions with the same amount of spend. So multi-channel, LinkedIn retargeting is a good one, but even spreading out multi-channel is a pretty good option as well to improve the marketing efficiency.
Yeah, I think that's a really good thing to call out too, because a lot of times people, or at least clients that I've encountered, when we talk about implementing a multi-channel strategy, or we kind of push towards that and kind of encourage them to post on multiple different channels, the biggest pushback that I tend to get is, I only have so much budget. I only have X amount that I can do in marketing. But it's not so much that you need to have more budget. It's more just understanding how to allocate that budget.
And that's something I want to get our team more and more confident to introduce is that the idea is that it's not always asking for more budget. So if we have a client that's spending 15K on LinkedIn, I honestly believe that there's a lot of times where we could say, hey, don't increase your budget at all, but let's peel off 2,500. Let's drop it to 12.5K on LinkedIn and let's spread $1,000 to Meta and, $1,200 or something to programmatic. And I bet I can almost guarantee will get you more results with the same amount of spend. I think that's a better way of looking at it than, again, thinking that, okay, we got to roll out Meta. So what's the budget with that? And then, we want to try programmatic. That's a whole separate budget and a whole separate thing. Like, no, take your all in, look at the other channels you should be, and probably just look at redistributing because that could have a huge impact.
Yeah. And I think too, the area that I think most marketers get concerned about is like, oh, how do we, like, where's the point where you're spreading too thin, or where's the point that like kind of making that stop happen, and what's the balance there? And so I think that's something that kind of could be an interesting conversation, as well as finding out like, okay, yes, it's great to spread across these channels, but also like which channels are most valuable to us, which ones are going to require like a bigger portion of our budget, because it's not necessarily like, I'm going to put like 30%, 30%, 30% in all of my channels. Sometimes like certain channels require a little bit more buy-in. So really interesting to think about that as well. Outside of kind of spreading the budget and finding the balance there, which we've talked a little bit about, what are some other challenges that you've kind of noticed clients or other businesses face in, the pursuit of marketing efficiency?
I think some of it still is wrapped in what you just said. They have this idea of maybe they bought into the belief that multi-channel, marketing is the solution for marketing efficiency. But there's a huge question as far as, the average person or even the decent marketer. It can be very challenging to say, okay, not just these are the channels that would eventually be great for you, but based on where your business is at now, based on how much current website traffic you have, the current kind of clients you're attracting right now, your business maturity and who you're best able to serve and where they're hanging out online, what are the channels and what's the budget allocation that would make sense? Because I get into this a lot, and I'm usually one that I feel like I give practical advice, but I also try to meet people where they're at. But even like, not all of my advice can just be taken all the time. Like, for example, someone reached out to me the other day and said, hey, I saw your YouTube video about clutch listings. I think that's really cool and a great idea. I signed up for a couple clutch listings, but I'm not seeing like amazing results. And I realize, like they have the right idea, but when I look at their business, I realize, dang, like I wish, maybe I should have included a lot more context, because I don't think a clutch listing is a great option for super like small organizations or very like immature. Like I feel like in order to get the best ROI out of a clutch listing, you need to have a really great retargeting framework on the back end. Like you should have your LinkedIn framework in place. You should probably have at least either Meta or some like display programmatic, because otherwise that's very competitive traffic. People who click on your agency through a clutch listing are probably checking out 4 or 5 other competitors. And if you're not staying in front of them for the next 90 days, like you're probably not going to get the full ROI of your clutch listing. So I feel like that's the big challenge. Is it's like, I can tell you the full end dream of what you should have, but it's very nuanced as to where you're at now, who you're best apt to serve, who you're currently attracting, what you can afford, and what that right mix looks like for you right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, I think that's something that, in marketing, we always run into too. Like there's no one strategy that works for all businesses. There's no like, secret to getting the best ROI in your marketing strategy that's going to work for everybody, because at the end of the day, like we all have different audiences and we all have like need to show up in different places. And so having that caveat of like, do what's right for your strategy and what's right for your audience. Like we can talk about what's worked well in our experiences and with the, wide breadth of clients that we've worked with, but also with having that wide breadth of clients, we also understand like some of the nuances that are needed in particular industries or particular strategies that you end up adopting.
Yeah, it's not as easy as they might think.
If only there was like one, secret to marketing, a secret marketing hack that we could all take. So switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk more about the technology and then the future of marketing efficiency and how we're kind of going to bring these types of strategies into 2024. So how does technology, and we can talk about this broadly, play a role in kind of enhancing that marketing efficiency? And can you provide an example of any tools or softwares that you use or that you think are particularly beneficial to have?
So yeah, I think there's 2 different categories. There's improving quality of placements, and technology is helping with that. For example, I've always thought the LinkedIn audience network was pretty garbage most of the time. So in a lot of cases, I think it has a decent amount of use cases, especially for smaller organizations where it can help them get beyond LinkedIn, but it needs to be, looked after and kind of taken with care. But LinkedIn Audience Network, Google Display Network, a lot of these placements that tend to have the high bounce rates, they're actively looking to improve the quality. They get a lot of feedback from advertisers. LinkedIn is looking to give advertisers more control over there. So I think that's going to be good. We use a DSP for programmatic called Stack Adapt. I think that's technological kind of advancement as far as those are quality placements. They allow you to be kind of everywhere. There's display, there's native, there's CTV, there's out of home and audio. Like you could do radio advertisements from there. So I think the ease at which you can be everywhere has gotten a lot more accessible. And I think technology has helped with that. And then I think the other area, there's a lot of hype around AI. And I think there's a lot of just like smoke and mirrors where it's like, okay, like it looks cool, but it might not actually help the practical day to day. I fully believe though that, it's obviously not all hype. It's just going to take people, it's going to be a path to get to something that's really providing efficiency. But I do think AI in the marketing world can really help. And the main ways would be additional testing, additional variations and additional insights. So the main three ways that I think AI is going to help marketing campaigns is it'll be very easy to get multiple copy variations and be able to A/B test a lot more things with AI. I also think you can get a lot more image variations eventually, so you can do more with less. You can get graphic designers or copywriters to write first drafts, and you can use AI to get multiple versions of that would have cost you a lot more money. And then the other thing will be AI insights that I do think are going to progress a lot this year. By that, I mean, even simply right now, ChatGPT has a data analyst kind of bot version right now. So a lot of it is language model, but some of it's like analytics. And I can actually, and I have, you can export your, go to your LinkedIn campaign manager or any kind of platform, export just the ads, and you could upload that and you could ask it questions. Hey, what are my top 5 and bottom 5 performing ads? What are the insights you can glean from this? That's something that traditionally would take a seasoned pro and a lot of time to look through a lot of data and surface some insights. But I do think AI is going to be able to surface automated insights on a good cadence that gives you more information about what ads are performing the best, what target groups you're performing the best and worst with, and help guide you to profitability a little faster.
I couldn't agree more too. And I feel like AI is something that comes up in a lot of conversations these days, whether it's like for marketing or for any other business processes, because we're all kind of scrambling to find these, right way to use AI. And I think for marketing in particular, I definitely see a space for AI in terms of accelerating our ability to like create content or to understand our marketing strategies and do some of the tactical like busy work that a typical marketer would spend hours like pulling reports and gleaning insights and trying to identify top performing ads and coming up with copy variation, stuff like that are all like really kind of what I consider like marketing busy work. And so a lot of times you'll hear marketers be like, is AI going to take my job? Or is AI going to replace like marketers? And I don't think that's necessarily the place that AI has, but it's definitely something that will help accelerate your marketing processes and help take some of the busy work off of your plate as a marketer. So something I see a lot is like the importance of skills, like AI skills and like understanding AI more so than being so scared of it.
Yeah. And we use AI even for this, our department, even your department content offer, but it's nowhere near going to replace anyone. It's helping you improve efficiency, helping you do more with less. And it's the same way that like marketing automation, like when I discovered Zapier, the ability to automate tasks, time consuming, tedious tasks that would have taken a lot of people, we were able to scale as an agency a lot faster and a lot more efficiently leveraging automation. And that's, in my mind, that's the same way that AI is going to be. It's not going to replace anyone, but it's going to allow small teams to do a lot more and work more efficiently with less resources.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it'll be a great step towards like more efficient marketing as a whole too. And so with kind of in a similar vein, I know we're talking specifically about technology, but are there any upcoming trends in marketing efficiency or things that you're noticing going into 2024 that business owners should kind of keep an eye on?
Yeah, I do think that obviously one of the biggest marketing efficiencies or trends that you should keep an eye on is going to be the use of AI. And I do think in particular, the data analysts one, when I started seeing some of what could happen with that, and I even had a talk with Vlad of how, he had the idea of like, okay, in my department for LinkedIn Center of Excellence, we have campaign specialists, surfacing reporting. What are the opportunities that we could use AI here? And that was one of the first things I talked to him about is, hey, you could export these, like some of the best insights that we're trying to surface. I think AI could help. Like we could have them export the data of the ads and for AI to analyze it and tell us top and worst performing. Like that's not a super hard mental task. It's more of a time consuming. Like you set the metrics, what are we grading it on? What are the criteria? And AI could follow those rules and surface that like really quick. The other one would be marketing department. So in our section, we have the different centers of excellence, the different channels that we offer clients. and these campaign specialists are surfacing reports and insights. And then that's the hard part. Like an actual human is surfacing those insights. Maybe eventually that could be AI, but I think there's a quality component there. But as those insights are surfaced, I do think AI could be used to collate those. So yeah, I have 4 different reports from 4 different segments. If I loaded those into AI to kind of say, okay, here's the 4 reports from my 4 channels. Tell me what the overarching story is. Combine this in a cohesive report that kind of explains where we came from and where we're at on a macro level. I do think it could take that and it could combine that and it could create additional insights or even additional thoughts or suggestions based on the what the 4 different channels surfaced. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to, especially around insights and compiling data and offering and looking for trends, because if you did that on a weekly basis, now you have an AI chatbot essentially trained on this client's campaign. Like if you were doing that on a regular basis, it would have the history of the campaign and you could query questions like, hey, I'm noticing a huge drop off in results on my LinkedIn ads. Any suggestions what it might be? And this bot has all of the change logs from all 4 channels for the last 6 months. It would take a human being maybe 5-6 hours poring over, hey, we launched this in February and then we pivoted to this. But if this machine has all that data and then you're querying it, asking it questions, like it could produce answers and insights at a faster rate and a higher level than probably most moderately trained marketers could do. So I think that kind of stuff does get me excited. But, again, it's a long path to, hey, that's an amazing idea, to how do we actually practically implement that in a way that, isn't, overburdensome for our team and actually consistently beneficial. But I do think that's the kind of stuff that you could be looking at doing. And it does get me pretty excited.
Yeah, in terms of adopting new technologies and new strategies and new ways of working, it's always going to be an uphill battle to get, a larger team, especially as our team grows, a larger team used to new ways of doing things. So that's always kind of a difficulty when trying to bring in new trends. It's is the amount of, kind of transition time that we'll need to make this happen worth it for the team? Or is it going to save us enough time to where the amount of work needed to make the transition becomes worth it? So that's always an interesting conversation too.
And someone has to actually, the time consuming thing is building out the process, the examples and the flow and the rollout to the team. If it was already if there was just a box and it was okay, I spent 8 hours or, 20 hours creating this. All you have to do is upload your insights into this on a weekly basis and you'll get this output. That's, that would be great. But it's the amazing amount of hours that takes to create the AI, mold it, create the framework, the rules in order for it to be able to have such a consistently structured output. So yeah, AI is an amazing opportunity, but it's not as easy. ChatGPT is not some end all. You have to train it. It's like saying that, this calculator is going to change the world. It really can, but you still have to learn how it works, how to structure it. And then there's still going to be, accountants can do things with calculators that I never could, but a calculator would let an average person do a lot more that they wouldn't be able to do, before the calculator came out. But so it's not going to replace anyone, but it'll level the playing field for a lot and it'll create efficiencies where there weren't. But yeah, it's not, the answer to everything.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not the, marketing secret sauce that makes all of your marketing work.
Yeah.